Oh, it's another year and I have to do a video on cheap luxury cars that cost under £10,000. So today we're going to look at 10 of those cars. They all have great luxury for the money. Let's get straight into it. Hit like if you like this kind of video, subscribe if you're new. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. We're starting with the Volvo XC90, an absolutely massive luxury SUV which comes with quite a few engine options, but for our money we'll be looking at the 2.4 litre inline-5 turbo diesel block which puts out 197 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in a pretty sedate time of 10 seconds. This is the first gen XC90 but a later facelift, as in 2007 the car got its first major update and had similar smaller modifications in 2009, 2010 and 2012. Volvos are known for two things, simplicity and safety, and on that latter point it came out with a top score in every single category, even with the bumper and bonnet being built to direct pedestrians up and over it rather than under the car. The simplicity you'll find is on the interior. It's not too fussy, quite unlike some of the other luxury cars on this list, but the nicer premium materials speak for themselves. They're only slightly over £3,000 at the bottom end, the cheapest starting point on this list, and 10k will get you a 2012 example with 75k on the clock. Water leaks, oil consumption and a few other issues are known, however. Next up we have a car that you'll rarely see here on the roads in the UK from a brand that no longer operates in our market, the Infiniti Q70, which is an executive saloon built to compete with cars like the BMW 3 Series or equivalent. It comes with a 2.2 litre turbocharged inline-4 engine which makes 167 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 8.6 seconds. In 2020, Infiniti began pulling out of Western European markets due to slow sales, meaning it only really existed for around 12 years over here, and it was Nissan's luxury car brand. Because it's a Nissan, you don't actually need to worry too much about getting it serviced, as there are still plenty of places to get the car sorted out. And it is a nice car with good looks externally, and on the interior it's pretty premium with a slightly different vibe in there to most other cars you see out on the roads. To get into one you need to spend around 4.1k at the lower end, and 10k will be enough for a 2017 model with 95k on the clock, making it the newest car on the list. Moving on now to Audi's flagship full-size luxury car, the Audi A8, from the third generation of that nameplate, with a 3 litre turbo diesel V6 block which makes 201 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 7.6 seconds. Now we're getting pretty luxurious, as the spec list on these can be incredible. I'm talking built-in internet in a car that was released 15 years ago, infrared night vision assistance, a full Bang & Olufsen sound system option, heated, ventilated and massaging seats in the rear, and of course an L model with the longer wheelbase to get the back to be as comfortable as you can imagine. It even came with a security model with ballistic protection as standard, including bulletproof glass and hand grenade protection all around, so it can withstand explosions, which is clearly built for diplomats and politicians considering it comes equipped with a flag holder. £6,000 is all you need to get into one of these, and 10k gets you a 2011 example with 90,000 miles on the clock. Typically these have been pretty reliable cars too, with that engine having some known issues, but in general the key problems have been age related. Lexus have always offered a bunch of great luxury cars that depreciate down to very affordable levels, and though I was going to include the Lexus LS600H in this video, I feel like it's been done to death. Instead, let's talk about the RX450H, Lexus luxury SUV, which comes equipped with a 3.5 litre V6 block that has an electric motor attached to produce a combined 294 brake horsepower, which you get to 60 in 7.6 seconds. This third gen model arrived in 2008 and had a nice modernising facelift in 2012 that really gets the car looking a lot more modern, which is particularly important for the interior, which is pretty regal and old school in the older models and slightly swisher after the facelift. It's also pretty reliable too, as outside of the problems with the battery needing replacing over time, the engine is pretty solid, and the build quality is also known to be very strong. If you want one you need to spend around £5,500 at the bottom end, and for our 10k limit you'll get a 2011 example with 100k on it. I've said it before, the poor man's Bentley, otherwise known as the first gen 300C, was a real hit here in the UK, but it definitely has aged quite a bit over time. It did however get a short run second generation which came with a 3 litre turbocharged V6 block, making 236 brake horsepower and managing 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds. Much of the car is still derived from the old Mercedes E-Class, and the design wasn't actually a million miles away from the older car. It did come with some more up-to-date features however, including a focus on soft touch materials on the interior. I don't think the interior has aged super well, but weirdly I do think the exterior looks much more modern than you'd expect, mostly because these made such a small splash in the UK compared to the first gen that you just rarely see them out on the roads. They start at around £6,500, and 10k will get you a 2013 model with 80,000 miles on the clock. It's known to be far more reliable than the first gen, which is great news, though there have been been some electrical gremlins and build quality related issues.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have, then do hit the like button and subscribe as well if you're new. And let me know in the comments down below, do you prefer luxury or performance? What's most important to you when buying a car?
On to the top 5 now. In 5th we have the BMW 730 LD, a long wheelbase version of BMW's flagship luxury saloon, which comes with a 3-litre turbocharged V6 engine, which puts out 241 brake horsepower and does 0 to 60 in 7.1 seconds. And what's crazy is the next car on this list is an entire second faster to 60, so we're about to make quite a big jump. It's a proper luxurious car, having been in one, particularly for passengers in the rear. You can get some amazing spec options with the massage rear seats and rear infotainment and the likes. Similar to the Audi, it got a high security version, which even came with a compartment in the center console for 2 machine guns. It was so luxurious, in fact, that BMW built 200 limited edition limousine models to celebrate the wedding of Prince Albert II of Monaco. They'll run you around $5,000 at the bottom end, and double that gets you a 2015 model with 100k on it. It's a heavy car, so bushings can perish, and there are known issues with door handles breaking. It's also quite old with complex tech, which has caused some owners headaches. On to probably the most exotic brand on this list now, Maserati with the Ghibli, which has often been discredited due to build quality, which is pretty par for the course when it came out to any Maseratis of its age. Irrespective, the diesel version comes with a 3-litre turbocharged V6 engine, making 271 brake horsepower and managing 0 to 60 in 6.1 seconds, as I mentioned before. This was the best-selling Maserati all the way up until the Levante, propelling Maserati closer to the mass production market, and that diesel engine is based on the one found in the Jeep Grand Cherokee, adding to that cheap build quality argument. That's helped with depreciation though, and as I said, from an exotic perspective, it is right up there with a more exotic looking interior and I think genuinely nice exterior looks. This is the most expensive car on the list, starting at around 9k, so at 10k you'll be getting a 2015 model with 100k on it. Though I personally know some trouble-free owners, clutch issues are known on them, and there are plenty of horror stories from owners on forums, so might be one to miss. Taking third on this list, we have a car that you might not be able to insure anymore, the Land Rover Range Rover Autobiography, which is the most luxurious typical spec for anything JLR related, and absolutely was for this L322 Gen Range Rover. These came with a massive engine option, the 5-litre supercharged V8, which puts out 502 brake horsepower, the most on this list, taking them to 60 in 6 seconds. Not bad for a massive SUV like this. The Autobiography could come with some pretty cool options, but if you went for an Autobiography Ultimate, you could take it to a whole new level, with 2 iPads built into the rear, a metal laptop desk, climate controlled reclining seats, and a wine fridge too. It really was focused on being the most luxurious Range Rover on the market at the time. You can get less luxurious specs cheaper, but as an Autobiography you'll be looking at around £7,500 at the bottom end, with 10k being enough for a high mileage 2009 model. There are horror stories about these cars sadly, but common issues include perished rear hub bushes and repair costs being astronomical. Just missing out on the top spot is another JLR car, the Jaguar XJ, which is a proper beast of a full-size luxury saloon, at least in terms of that size. The engine's not bad either though, as the diesel comes with a 3-litre twin turbocharged V6, producing 295 brake horsepower, taking it to 60 in 5.9 seconds. Not bad. You sadly won't get an Autobiography spec within our price range, so you won't get the top end of luxury, but you will get a portfolio, which is pretty good in that department either way. I mean, it was luxurious enough that it hosted 3 different prime ministers during the 2010s, and had features like the panoramic roof, quad zone climate control, and power sunshades, which is actually considered to be pretty good value for money versus its rivals that lacked such features. They start at around $5,000, and $10,000 gets you a 2015 model with around 100k on the clock. There are plenty of angry owners on forums, but reportedly only 14% of these have had any kind of major reliability issues, and it was named the second most reliable used luxury car in 2023 by What Car according to owners. Taking the top spot might be my personal favourite surprise on this list, the Skoda Superb L&K, which like Autobiography for JLR is the top spec for Skodas. These come with a few engine options, including a 2-litre turbocharged inline-4 that makes 276 brake horsepower and is 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. The L&K costs more than double the cheapest Superb New and came as both a saloon or estate, depending on what practicality you need. Honestly, loads of people sleep on these because it's a Skoda, when in reality these specs and accolades speak for themselves. It's been given so many awards, defeating rivals from way more luxurious brands. That's because the interior is genuinely spacious and luxurious, with extra little features to make you smile, like the umbrellas in the door cards, like a Rolls Royce. The L&K stitching really brings all the premium materials used together as well, and Skoda's Simply Clever initiative ensures the car has extra features to make it very easy to live with. To buy one of these, you need to spend around £6,300 at the bottom end, and 10k gets you a 2016 model that's done around 100,000 miles. And so there you have it, 10 luxury cars that cost less than £10,000. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't, do hit the like button and subscribe as well if you're new. Mass thanks to the patrons and support, and you guys as well for watching. And if you watch another video on some more cheap luxury cars, click up here and subscribe down here.